Not too long ago, I released a video detailing World of T-Shirts and his rise to fame and later his fall from grace. I thought that despite how busy Josh was, he would not be doing enough to warrant a second video so soon, but I thought wrong. This is part 2 in the downfall of World of T-Shirts.
Get away!
Hey.
Now!
What?
Get away from me!
When I left off, World of T-Shirts and Daniel Larson had squashed their beef. Quinn was still lurking about as he does, and a Vegas trip loomed on the horizon. So let's start there. Josh would fly out to Vegas in May of 2023, and if you've watched the last video, or watched Josh in general, you knew exactly how this would go. In the city of excess wealth and sin, Josh quickly gambled and drank away. In particular, he would enjoy these massive drinks, known as yardsticks. From what I've gathered online, each one of these drinks contains 276 grams of sugar, and he drank 3 of them in one day. Can you guess what happened next? Yeah, he vomited. Oh, and he laughed when he made some poor janitor clean it up. Vegas would continue like this until the Douglas Skates encounter, which probably soured the whole thing for him. Douglas Skates is a YouTube prankster, and he's one of those people that I think most will have a really strong reaction to. Either you find him funny, or you don't. What Douglas did to Josh has elicited pretty strong reactions of either that was not okay or that was really funny, or a mix of both. Basically what Douglas did was, while Josh was live streaming, he just started following him around and popping up. This caused Josh to become stressed out until he inevitably snapped and started screaming and freaking out. And anytime people would ask if Josh was okay and if Douglas was around while that was happening, he would gaslight and lie and say that he was Josh's caretaker, which naturally made Josh even more agitated.
I don't want to hang out with you, okay?
Wait, you don't want to hang out, but we're home.
No, I'll call the police if you don't stay away from me.
My name's Douglas Skates.
Okay, just stay away from me.
I'm taking care of you.
No, you're not.
Guys, he has autism. I'm here to take care of him for the day.
Fuck, you're a 16-year-old kid.
That's messed up.
Get a job.
While I suppose on principle I am against this sort of behavior, I will say getting Josh to make this sound was pretty funny.
I'm begging you.
Oh, and also Douglas Skates went after Michael Quinn, so even though I'm not a huge fan of these types of videos, he's alright in my book.
Now, Quinn, you on the other hand. Guys, give me your point of view. I think this Quinn guy is just taking advantage of this life of T-shirts dude, this Josh guy, just to get views. Even just like this situation, he's not gonna do shit. He made those threats and then shouted out his other social medias.
This would end the Las Vegas arc. He would head home and get right back to doing what he does best. I think the end of the Vegas arc marks a massive turning point in how Josh is perceived. I believe that he is already fully in lolcow territory, though definitely a lower tier than someone like Daniel Larson or Christian, for sure, but he is there. This is evident by people trolling him, which has been going on for some time now, probably a year or more, but even the general perception of him is turning negative. Before, with someone like Christian, people would watch, but most would not actively dislike who they were watching. For many years, people tried to help Christian get away from the trolls. Of course, that completely ended after certain recent events, but you know what I mean. I believe the same sort of thing is happening to Josh. Comments on his TikTok, Reddit threads, and comments on my own video lead me to believe that there is a core of World of T-shirt viewers who no longer feel any pity for him due to his threats of suing people and general disregard for others around him. I mean, in fairness, he is a public nuisance. Screaming and vomiting in public wins you no favors, and his massive ego doesn't help either. But I bring this all up because when Josh returned from Vegas, he dug himself into an even deeper hole by starting a cameo. I had speculated before that his financials were probably in a sorry state, and he was most likely relying on money from Michael Quinn or his grandfather, while also indulging in some credit card debt as a treat. With the launch of his cameo, however, he made himself some decent money. How much, you ask? Well, he made about $4,000 on the first day. Why did so many people pay for this? Only God knows. Naturally, these cameos were what you would expect. Some trolling, but nothing too crazy. That was until Josh did one that had a racial slur in it. This is why I brought up his perception earlier, because this incident made it infinitely worse.
When the poor disobey me, I whip them. You gotta...
Why he said such a phrase, only he knows. It's certainly not a common one, so you could give him some benefit of the doubt and say that he had no idea what it meant. But that line of questioning leads to further problems, because why was nobody proofreading to make sure Josh didn't say something really bad, like he did? This event would even reach the ears of Josh's grandfather, showing how big of a deal it was.
I saw that video of me cursing everyone out.
Yeah, you were canceled. So, you didn't know what porch monkey meant?
I didn't know what it meant.
Well, I knew what it meant. But Quinn knew what it meant, too. Why didn't Quinn stop you? Why didn't he stop you?
Quinn wasn't there when I posted it.
In short, Josh said a slur and made his follower base angry. He would spend the next couple days bemoaning cancel culture and threatening to sue like usual.
Like, give me a break. I was set up. They told me to say something. It sounded pretty innocent, but it turns out it was racist. I didn't know it was racist. I didn't know. You can't cancel me because I'm the most prominent New York City account on that app.
Oh, and no joke, his Cameo price would go from $30 to $45 to $50. Once again, if you're paying for this, why? I get the joke is having Josh say something, but for $50? Really? The rest of May and going into June was the same nonsense as before. Josh would make money on Cameo, saying whatever, and then flex the money to an annoying degree, calling everyone watching broke and unemployed losers.
I'm suing you and you, frickin' unemployed jerks.
Some of this stuff still continues to this day, like he'll claim he's living paycheck to paycheck and that he's trying to break out of this middle-class nightmare.
I'm trying to get out of this middle-class nightmare. And I think if I sue the guys, I'll finally get that golden ticket to being a multi-millionaire.
Obviously, these two statements are so ridiculously wrong it's hilarious. He's only living paycheck to paycheck because he blows all of his money. And with that Cameo money coming in, he's not middle class. Middle class people don't make $5,000 in a day. Honestly, this honeymoon period of Cameo was so incredibly annoying to watch because he was always on this money tangent. Thankfully, it has lessened somewhat, though of course he still calls people unemployed, broke losers, or whatever, so, that's still annoying, but he's lessened. On a happier note, Josh went skydiving for what I believe was the second time. There was also this brief incident where Quinn and Josh deleted videos featuring each other on both of their accounts. Of course, the second this news broke, many people jumped at it and thought that they had gotten into some sort of argument or something along those lines. But what really happened was, Michael Quinn thought he was going to be going on QVC and didn't want them to know about his antics. Though in the end, he never ended up going on. Some have attributed this to people emailing and calling about Quinn, but we don't know for sure. Then, not only a day or two later, we would get the van incident. As per usual, Josh was roaming the streets of New York drunk, and he got into a bit of a spat with his van full of people. Though Josh claims they jumped out and punched him in the jaw, I have seen no video evidence of this, and it appears that Josh was the one who started it all when he kicked this guy's van. Later, somebody would record this video of Josh just off his rocker, yelling at nobody, claiming his jaw was broke. But I don't think this is true either. Like a lot of his incidents, Josh put the blame on someone else, when he was the one who caused the issue. Frankly, I'm shocked this hasn't happened sooner. Yeah, people have stolen his hat or harassed him in the streets, but the fact that he's had plot armor this long is pretty astounding. This man has been drunk through all hours of the night, just screaming at people, and just finally got some people angry enough to chase after him and maybe hit him. Oh, and after this incident, the guys in the van FaceTimed him. Unfortunately, this clip is sped up, and I haven't been able to find the original, but give it a listen.
Come on, I'm in Times Square. Calling the police. Call the police.
Sue you and your family, and I'll take all your camera money. I'll take all your.
If you were wondering how they got his phone number, he just has it on his Instagram, which is a terrible decision, by the way, and do not spam him or harass him. That's not cool, and that's not something I support, but I just thought it was funny that he would have his phone number on his own page. Oh, and hey, Mr. Paycheck to Paycheck over here spent $200 on a dinner. Look at all the food he got for one person. Well, at least he gave a good tip. Also, there's this video of Josh drinking lean. I mean, it's probably not lean, but it could be. If it was, he didn't seem to like it, which is good. Because if Josh developed an opiate addiction, well, goodbye Josh, because the alcohol is already bad enough. I can't even imagine what he'd be like with a stomach full of codeine at all times. And to finish us off before he heads out to Iceland, here's a video of Josh covered in what could be urine, vomit, or fecal matter. While I do believe it's urine, you could argue for any of them or all three. Who knows? Leave your answer in the comments below. We can have our own rice or vomit argument a la Super Mega, but this time it's what liquid is a grown man's shorts covered in.
This isn't vomit?
That does not look
Why
like
would
vomit.
why would someone pour?
Because they don't want the rice anymore. Why is the rice all there?
Why
They
would
would
do it
chew
right
the
at
rice.
the base of it? If someone's gonna pour out rice, they're gonna do it over there in that corner or something.
Why would some?
This wraps up post-Vegas. Now it's time for Josh to head off to the wonderful land of Iceland, home to a bustling 300,000 people. The plane ride itself was uneventful. He did of course pre-game the flight, which is insane, but that's par for the course. After the several hour long flight, he touched down and began to make his way through the capital. He got recognized a couple of times, showing that he really is global, and he drank, shockingly enough. This would be the end of the peace in Iceland, because after this, the trolling began. Most of it was minor, and just the usual sort of stuff, but then someone stole his hat for the second time in pretty much a month, and that theft caused him to lose his mind. I mean, he just started screaming and running through the streets.
Whoa! Why did you take that? Get back here, you little thief! Stop him! Stop him! Stop him! Stop him! Ow! Why? Can you give it back? Please! Please! Oh my God. He tried to steal it again!
This became a reoccurring event, as it seems as though several different people, or just the same person a couple of different times, tried to steal the hat, and then of course succeeded. Oh, and he also said this line.
Please, do something! Don't just stand there! Track this immigrant fuck down!
Yeah, I'm not sure where that came from. Oh, and if you were worried, Josh did get a new hat. Though to me at least, it's not as good as the original. I think that just about wraps up Iceland. I mean, what else is there? He met fans, took photos with them, and drank and drank and drank and drank some more. That was about it. Now it's time for Paris. After pre-gaming his flight, he boarded and it was uneventful. When he landed in Paris, it was night, so naturally he drank and then headed out to see the Eiffel Tower, and that ended the first night. Thankfully, it was pretty peaceful, and this sort of set the standard for Paris, because this was easily his most relaxed and peaceful vacation by far. I think this is due to not only Josh really wanting to go here, but also there was this person who said they were going to babysit him. And of course, he probably learned from Iceland that people will harass him if he goes live and draws attention to himself. So he took those lessons to heart and had a much better time. That sort of wraps up Paris. I mean, there's not much to discuss. He saw the Eiffel Tower, he drank, and even ate escargot, so he enjoyed some local delicacies. After 2 days, he headed back to New York, and it was back to our usual schedule. Oh, and a new joke dropped.
What does B mean?
Oh. basement.
This really brings us to the present as of recording. It was a really eventful time with 3 separate trips and some incidents within New York. And it all shows to me that Josh is still not on a good path, nor one that he can sustain. It is true that as of now he is making some decent money, though he spends it almost as soon as he gets it, but even with making that good money, this is not a sustainable 9-to-5 career. Cameo could dry up tomorrow, or years from now, depending on how popular Josh is. And unfortunately, this is all just a vicious cycle, because people are really only tuned in because of his behavior, and if his behavior cleans up, people will become less interested, meaning his finances will probably also dry up. I mean, let's be honest, people aren't paying $50 for a World of T-Shirts cameo because he's such a great guy. This, coupled with the glaring alcoholism, is still a path for disaster. And Josh admitting to waking up in a puddle of vomit shows it's not getting better. Perhaps I have too much of a parasocial relationship going on, I shouldn't care as much, but I do find it frustrating. Because Josh's behavior is not to the stage of a Daniel Larson or a Chris Chan. He has an out. I mean, it would require him to quit doing what he's doing, but he has that option. Of course, if we're being honest, the chance of him actually doing that is probably 0. Many people can tell you that unless someone truly wants to fix themselves, they usually won't. And even with Josh being told point blank that he should lessen his alcohol consumption, he just brushes it off. Or says it makes him feel better and makes the pain go away.
Drinking makes pain go away. If I have problems, I just drink it away. If I'm feeling upset, I just drink the pain away. If I end up in a hospital and die of alcohol poisoning, then I'll finally be able to escape this paycheck to paycheck nightmare.
Maybe I'm caring way too much. I know Josh has a massive ego. I know he can be sort of a nuisance. He can be rude and aggressive, but he just hasn't gone down that point of no return. He has a chance. I know he won't take it. It never ends that well. We've seen it time and time again, but just once, a good end to a story like this would be nice. Thank you for watching. I can only hope there won't be a part 3. I mean, you never know, but I still hope. See ya.